Whew. Fuck, it's cold. Oh. Oh my god, thank goodness for this air-cooled engine. So today I'm going to talk about how to ride in the winter or cold weather temperatures so you can ride longer, safely, and be more comfortable on the road. So without further ado, let's get going. Alright, so the first thing we should talk about is the hazards on the road, and then we're going to talk about the gear you should wear and the bike maintenance that you should do on your bike as a routine maintenance in the winters to make sure that you are safer on the road. So the hazards that you got to look out for are slippery surfaces on the road, which sounds pretty self-explanatory, but there are certain things on the ground and on the road itself that you may not really pay attention to when you're riding in dry conditions or warmer summer riding weather because it never was slippery to you in the past. But in the winter, it's a whole different animal. In the cold or in the winter, there are certain surfaces that you need to look out for on the road, such as road paint, road snakes, and as well like all these manhole covers and sometimes fallen leaves if they haven't been cleared out yet. So all these things contribute to the risk of you losing traction on the road. And the first thing that you need to notice is that when you go to a complete stop like I'm doing right now, my foot is not on where the paint is, but if you're on the left lane here that's about to turn left, you might be on that arrow which has less friction than on just straight on asphalt. When you put your left foot down, it might actually slip because the surface of that paint is slipperier than the road itself. So what I suggest you do is when you come to a complete stop, before you put the whole entire weight, just do a little dab on it and make sure that your right foot is ready to grab onto the ground if your left foot decides to slip out. Now, paint is one thing to look out for, but as you can see here, my foot is on a smaller road snake here, and these road snakes that are meant to patch up the road can become slippery as well because it has a smooth surface. And those are all types of surfaces that you gotta watch out for, and you'll see on this road here that there's going to be a lot of parallel road snakes, and usually it should be fine, but there are certain cases where if it is wet and a lot colder than normal, sometimes your bike will lose traction and it will do these like weird speed wobbles that you have to watch out for. So I generally try to avoid them. Like instead of going into my position 1, which is what I usually do when I'm riding in a single lane, I will move over to position number 3, or depending on the surface of the road, you gotta make smooth adjustments and you gotta pay extra attention to the road, especially if you're riding in the winter and colder temperatures, because again, these areas and this surface areas are a lot colder, which means it'll be a lot slipperier on the road. The other hazards that you gotta be watching out for, which I can't see right now, are fallen leaves or fallen pine needles or whatever is on the ground that falls from the season of autumn. These become slippery surfaces, kind of like gravel, and you should try to avoid them if you can, but if you cannot avoid them, then go at a slower pace and have some caution when you are turning. The other thing that is unique to the winter time frame or in colder temperature or colder climate riding is the particles that are on the roads that your city provides so that there is less formation of ice. And what I'm talking about is either salt or dirt. So it really depends on where you live and what type of material your municipality decides to use. Here where I live in Victoria, they like to use salt that gets sprayed across all the roads here. And these salt particles will end up chewing up the metals of your bike if you don't properly maintain it, which is something that I'm going to talk about next. All right, so let's talk about the maintenance you need to do on your motorcycle here so that you can ride safely and more comfortably on the road. As I mentioned before about the hazards on the road, there's going to be a lot of salt and dirt debris, especially if you come back from riding in wet conditions. And if you don't clean those off, it's going to end up eating through your paint and the metals of your motorcycle. And if you plan to not ride for a while, you should definitely do a thorough wash of your motorcycle and wipe the areas that most likely will have some salt or chemical debris that might be caked onto your motorcycle after a ride. The other maintenance you got to make sure you do is tire maintenance. They're the only two things on the road that will give you traction, and without traction you're going to end up falling and not have a good time. So it is best that you check the tire treads, make sure that they're in good health, and as well that they are inflated to the right pressure amount for winter riding. The other thing that you need to look out for, especially on a Harley Davidson motorcycle, is the health of your battery. And I actually had an issue with this when I first started out because I didn't trickle charge my motorcycle while taking a 2-week break. And those 2 weeks, I thought it was going to be nothing, but
when the weather and the schedule lined up perfectly for me to go on a winter ride, I took the motorcycle out of my garage and tried to turn it on, and it didn't turn over because the battery was dead. And man, that was annoying. Luckily, it wasn't dead enough so that it had to be completely replaced. I trickle charged the battery overnight, and it was enough to turn on the motor the next day. So don't get yourself caught up like I did, where you don't trickle charge and end up having to miss out on that beautiful riding day that you get only a few times around the winter months.
All right, so what to wear in the winter so you can be warm and comfortable on the road. And it varies from a person to person depending on your heat or cold tolerance. But for me, I always find my fingers and my feet are the first things that gets really cold and gets really uncomfortable. So for me, footwear as well as gloves are very important to me. So I've been trying out different types of boots. My wife got me these thermal Blundstones that have thermal lining inside as well as thermal insoles, which keeps my foot really toasty. As well, it is waterproof, so something like this that covers all around, that doesn't have any laces, is very comfortable for me for a ride. Now, you obviously don't have to get this pair of boots, but something that is thermal rated for winter and that is waterproof will be key to keep your feet warm. Now, you got to compound this with a set of wool socks, or again, thermal socks that will help you insulate your toes and your feet. And for my hands, I have 3 pairs of gloves. These were the first ones that I started out wearing, which was my Harley Davidson brand winter gloves that I bought on a sale during like last year's Black Friday. These served me really well during the rides that are like about 5 degrees Celsius, and they do tend to get pretty cold after about 10 minutes of riding right at the fingertips. So it's something that I'm not really fond of, but it is bearable when I start riding with these gloves on. If it gets any colder, let's say like between 0 to like 1 or 2 degrees Celsius, I start to wear these heated gloves that I bought from Amazon for cheap, and it does its purpose. But again, the problem with these cheap heated gloves are it doesn't really heat the fingertips. It heats up like the palm or the top of your hands, but it doesn't radiate all the way to your fingertips, and that's kind of the area that gets really cold for me. And I haven't been able to successfully find gloves that actually have heating element that goes all the way around the fingers here, unless you're spending about $500-$600, and even then I'm not even sure if that is actually true from the reviews that I read. So I am kind of looking at maybe purchasing a pair of heated grips for my Iron 883. I've seen some of the comments on my community posts, so I'm gonna start researching on that and potentially purchase one, just because I still continue to ride throughout the winter, and if my hands are not warm, then obviously it cuts out some of the riding days that are quite cold up here in Canada. The other pair of gloves that I have are these like Gore-Tex winter gloves that has a lot of wind protection. These are military issued that I've been using throughout my career. They're pretty decent on blocking out the wind, but it's bulky as hell and you can't have that much dexterity with these ones. I wear these when I don't have these heated gloves charged up, and unfortunately I actually lost the charger for these heated gloves, so it's kind of useless to me right now. So I've been kind of sporting these Gore-Tex gloves for the last few days of my winter riding. The other thing that I wear that I can't recommend enough is these fleece neck guards. I bought this from Fort 9 as my first purchase because I started out riding from the fall to the winter. When you're wearing a full face helmet and a jacket, there's always this area that will be exposed to the wind. And I noticed that when I started riding my bicycle to work during winter time, and I knew being on a motorcycle, it's going to be a lot colder because you're going faster. So I bought myself these like fleece neck guards, and this is the single piece of kit that will never go on a ride without during winter, because these things keep your neck very toasty and it keeps everything around your face to your body very well insulated and blocks a lot of wind. Definitely a must to wear. Full face helmet is something that I wear regularly, whether it's in the summer or in the winter. One of the big things I want to point out is in the winter, if you do not have a visor here that doesn't have a pinlock shield underneath it, this is a Shoei RF 1200. Most big helmet brands are partnered up with pinlock company that provides the shields on the inside. And the reason for that is just like when you're starting up your car in the cold, all your windows start fogging up as soon as you start bringing in the body heat inside the car. Same thing happens inside your helmet here. Once you start talking or breathing, all of your visor area starts to fog up really fast, unless you provide a little gap in the front when you're riding to allow some airflow, but that also brings in cold air. So having a pinlock shield allows you to close this visor completely, and it will
never fog up. Such a game changer for you to have if you're gonna ride in the winter. A few other things that I have that I wear in the winter obviously is my jacket. This is my first riding jacket that I bought from Speed and Strength Canada. I believe this one's called Off the Chain 2.0, and it comes in two pieces. Like, you get this outer shell jacket and as well this fleece hoodie, and combination with this hoodie and this jacket is definitely warm enough for you to ride in about like 5-degree weather. But if you're gonna go down to like 0 degrees, I find myself needing to wear another layer of fleece. So wearing this with this outer shell definitely keeps me very toasty, probably down to like -5-degree weather. And when you're riding, it definitely feels a lot colder. I think it goes down to like -15 to 20 if you're going like 60 to 100 kilometers per hour. So it makes a big difference, especially when you need to block out that wind. In terms of pants, it doesn't really matter because my legs don't get as cold as long as my feet are warm, but I do end up wearing some of the long johns and like Under Armour type of material underneath my riding jeans. So that also helps if you're riding in extreme cold weather. And in the end, it's all about your tolerance level, and some people can tolerate the cold a lot better than I could. But for me, I want to protect my hands and I want to protect my feet, because if I lose the sensitivities on my fingers or my feet, then I lose a bit of control over my motorcycle, which isn't really good or safe on the road. If you got any suggestions, let my viewers know in the comments below. And if you got any suggestions for my Harley Iron 883 for a heated grip that isn't like $400, let me know please so I can get one. So with that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this and learned something from it. As always, ride safe, ride prepared, ride on.